and you're watching Retro Gaming Revival live.
Good evening. It is Wednesday. It is 8 o'clock. It is Retro Gaming Revival Live. That's the first time I've said that without it being a Tuesday or getting it wrong. So I'll take it. I'm happy with that. You will see that we are missing a Blunners for a little bit. So people that are watching, usual hashtag, usual phone number there, Blunwatch. If you have seen Blunners out in the wild, as Ryan would like us to say, please do text that number. It does work. If it's not overly fruity, we will read it out and see what people have said they've seen him be doing this time. So, before we jump in and introduce our guest this evening, introduce our usual reprobates that we have with us. We have Mr. Triangle-Faced Tim.
Hello.
Looking significantly less washed out than you were 5 minutes ago. So you have colour back to your face, Tim. Beautiful, wonderful to see you. We have Mr. Dorbs.
Greetings. I've got my Rafe energy drink, Gamer Bath Water flavour.
Your winning thing from St. Michel, which you're still downing like it's going out of fashion.
Still delicious. Very nice.
I did actually like that, but I still cannot get my head around why they decided to name the flavour Gamer Bath Water. That sounds like the most unappealing flavour they could have come up with. And anything else would have been better.
It's yes, and it doesn't taste like bath water. It's much more like sherbet. Anyway,
why
getting
not
onto
call
a
it
tangent.
Gamer Sherbet Water? That's much more appealing. No, bath water.
There we are. Slid onto a tangent before we'd even introduced our guest. Shocking. Our guest of honour this evening is the incredible Ash Millman. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you. I'm going to start adding that to like my title, The Incredible Only. That's how you make sure me to rest this whole thing.
It's got to be done.
What do you think?
Yes, do it. Thank you so much for joining us on our little slice of the internet tonight. How are you doing?
Oh,
we've lost your sound. You've gone all quiet.
Oh no! No, we've lost your sound.
Oh no! Technical issue.
Mute.
Jazz now.
Huh?
Hey! Beautiful.
Hooray!
Excellent. So how are you? Are you all right?
Yes. Is that where it cuts off? As me being like, help me?
I think that's about where it cut. Yeah.
No, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Well, thank you. The pleasure is all ours. Pleasure is all ours. So hopefully my mouse not being sticky like it was last time in the sense that it kept getting stuck. Everyone, if we just quickly run through the chat, see who we have. We have Mr. Ali from Mr. 16 Bits and Bobs. We have legendary Mr. Rick Waller. Good evening, sir. I hope you are doing incredibly well. With Gina Bell, she's back asking us what's for dinner. A normal question from Gina.
What is for dinner? What did you guys have for dinner?
What did I have for dinner? I had gammon and roast potatoes.
I had a creamy garlic chicken thing.
Oh my god! All of you guys have your lives so well together. I didn't have tea because I was like, I'll have it after. So I had air.
Life well together. I had my wife who was working from home who cooked dinner for me this evening. So that was my life isn't together by any stretch.
But your wife is together.
She is the glue. She is the glue that keeps us all together. Yes. See, I get brownie points for saying that. I lied. Mr. Mike Holton, how are we doing, sir? Mr. Harry Noyes, hello. Mr. Nick Craddock. Ooh, got some new names in here. New names. Freak of Nature, hello, welcome. That is a new name. Nice to see you. Shiny Silvery. These are all new names for us. How is it doing?
Ooh.
And Mr. Mike Locke. How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? Excellent. So,
And
yes.
this one.
Oh, who have I missed? Oh, Mr. Ryan, who's watching Southampton play tonight.
A quick update: they are actually losing 1-0. So
That sounds about right. I don't know. You guys talk about football all the time, and Southampton never seem to do very well.
no, that's a shame. That is a shame.
But from my limited knowledge, they are doing better in terms of league than Portsmouth, correct?
Well, it's different leagues, so you can't really compare them.
Well,
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't want to
not
go on too
already.
much of a tangent again already, but I have spent the last few days playing through 13 FIFA games, so I'm a little bit footballed out, and I'm a bit done with football for the time being after all that FIFA.
We recently did our Secret
Yeah.
Santa recently on our gaming day, and Tim got FIFA 08 to FIFA 21 as his Secret
Yeah,
Santa.
FIFA 09 right through to FIFA 21. Yeah,
And you went and played all of them in a row.
I went and played all of them. Yeah.
Oh wow, that sounds
Just to see if I can notice a different. I have documented it, so there will be a video on our channel soon of my my FIFA experience.
That's why you look
What's your
so
favourite FIFA?
washed out earlier.
Yeah, it's actually just all of FIFA.
You look so
That's
ill.
much
way
FIFA.
too much. Yeah,
Far too much FIFA.
I don't know if I've got a favourite FIFA. There's one in the middle. I think one of the games I actually won 3-0, which is quite good for me. So I was like, that will be my favourite one. I don't know which one it
Yeah.
is. 13, maybe. Yeah, so let's say FIFA 13. Yeah, that was
The
good.
one that had the football in it.
Yeah, the one with the football game. That was good.
Excellent.
I'll save the rest of my feedback for the video.
Looking forward to that. Very,
You can see
very
how I
excited for
found
that.
it.
Very excited for that.
So Ash, the first thing we like to ask everyone that comes onto our funky little channel is about their early gaming memories. So what was it that sort of pulled you into video games? Is there a console or something that you sort of experienced that sort of really pulled you into gaming?
Ooh, I think for me, it's like my dad has always been the gamer of our family. Like everything has to be a game or a competition.
Okay.
So it had to be that. So we would play all sorts together. He would show me all of his collections. But like the first console that was like mine that I played properly was PlayStation 2. Like my cousin had a PlayStation 1. We go over and play that. But when I had one, it was PlayStation 2. And I love that thing. Oh my God, I love it so
classic.
much. And we would play like anything that had a cool cover. So all of the like proper classic games. There's lots that I haven't played, like that are just a holes in my gaming knowledge because I've played so many weird little ones. I feel like that's everyone's PlayStation 2 experience. Like it's always weird stuff that nobody else has heard of. It's called like Flumly Glue that like has like a weird bat on the cover. And you're like, oh, it was the best game in the world. Why didn't Flumly Glue have a sequel? But for me, it was Gauntlet Dark Legacy and Drakan the Ancient's Gate and Vex. I loved all of those and I played them to absolute death.
Yeah, incredible. So you see your dad's a gamer as well, or he just makes everything into a game?
Oh no, he is a gamer as well as making everything into a game. Like he grew up like the proper quintessential 80s nerd of like Dungeons and Dragons and playing all of the new consoles as they came out. We'd go to the arcades and always like try and do House of the Dead and that sort of stuff. Like anything that he could get his hands on that's gaming. He's all over it. Like it's just been a family thing. And my mom hates games. She hates them. We try and make her play all the time and she hates all of them. The only one I've managed to get to play is Spyro with me. So and Medieval, that's the other one, Spyro Medieval.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, yeah, I have to say, like arcades and early 90s consoles that's definitely pretty much most of our upbringing. And my daughter, who's in the chat somewhere, possibly still, she's now sort of getting really into PC gaming and horror movies. So that's something that we're sort of experiencing together at the moment, which is great. And my son's a massive gamer. Yeah, my wife is the only non-gamer other than my littlest, who's like 2. So she just throws the controller and tells me
time.
Yeah, we can mold and see how that goes. Yeah, and a gaming family then.
Yeah, well, I'm an only child, so it's me and my dad in it, and just my mom being like, "Oh, fine, fine, put it on, have the TV, I'll read my book."
Yeah. No, I class that as a gaming family. Doesn't matter if I'm an only child as well. And then somehow ended up with 3 kids of my own, and I do not understand the sibling shouting and rivalry and the arguments, and it just drives me mad. Whereas my wife has, a brother, and she totally gets it. I just confuses the hell out of me.
Yeah, no, it would stress me out.
Yeah. Daub's chuckling there, thinking, "Yes, I have no stress there." Okay, so do you have a favorite console, and do you have a favorite game? And the two don't have to be mutually exclusive together.
That was such a big question. Like, that's two massive questions.
Big.
I think. Oh man. Oh goodness gracious. I think PS2 would have to be my favorite console. I think just because of the nostalgia of it, all the weird titles on it, all of the time I spent playing it, and all the co-op games you have on it. I think PS2 would be my favorite console. Favorite game, I have like 12 that are like the top 3. You know.
That's
Like,
fine. We'll let you have as many as you like. We like hearing people's top games, because the amount of random games that we hear, sometimes you're like, I've never heard of that.
Never heard of it. No.
100%. So I feel like God of War is definitely up there, because that was like a whole new world for me. Playing through that, like the 2018 God of War. Playing through Bloodborne was like a seminal experience as well. Oh my goodness. I didn't think I liked Souls games, and then playing through Bloodborne like changed my whole life.
There does seem to be a Souls game or a Soulsborne game. One of them catches you, and then that's it. You go back and you tend to go back to them, and that's when it sort of sucks you in. And I tried really, really hard, because everything, the aesthetic of Dark Souls, that's me. But I just couldn't get on with dying constantly and never making any progress, and it just irritated me until I decided to really just give Demon Souls a proper go, and now I can't put Souls games down. And still playing Elden Ring like a smack addict at the moment. And
oh my god, yeah. Elden Ring would have never appealed to me in an old life, whereas now I'm like, could just pop on, could just go and kill some of those little rat things for a bit. Like, not even the bosses, just like look around the fields for weeks to make me feel strong.
Yeah. So you went to Bloodborne. What else is in your tops?
I think Mass Effect 2, absolutely. That one comes up a lot when I talk about favorite games, just because that was like, I think that's one of the few that I've like played a few times. Usually, I'll play through something and be like, that's my gaming experience. Whereas Mass Effect 2, I went through again and again and again. And when Legendary Edition came out, I was like, I'm home.
Yeah.
Being on the Normandy again. Oh God, Gauntlet Dark Legacy has to come again, because that's another one that I've played so many times, and it's such a fun little dungeon crawler where you're just smacking up demons and playing as different people, and it has an arcade version which you can play.
Yeah.
So cool, so awesome.
Yeah. That is awesome. A lot of people do bring up Mass Effect. Mass Effect seems to be borderlining a religion, I think, at this point.
Yeah, it is.
And also, I think for anyone that has a PlayStation Plus, it's free at the moment as well, unless it was last month, unless I'm a month behind.
One. It was the
Christmas
trilogy.
Yeah, Christmas has just totally like ruined my concept of time.
Yeah, I don't even know what day it is.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I'm glad you said at the beginning, actually, otherwise it would have been lost.
Yeah, exactly. Like for the last couple of times, I've said it's Tuesday when it's a Wednesday. I've said it's Wednesday when it's a Tuesday. Yeah, time just doesn't exist in this sort of immediate post-Christmas bit where we're still, desperately trying not to eat cheese and chocolate for breakfast.
Indeed. What are your thoughts on Mass Effect Andromeda?
Quick update.
You go first.
Before we go for Andromeda.
I have got a text. I won't show the number. Sorry?
Is this Blunwatch?
This is Blunwatch.
Yeah,
so I have got a text, and I think, Tim, you may need to comment on this. So I'll have to say it allegedly before I read this out. And it says, I saw Blunners kissing Santa Claus underneath the mistletoe last night. So do you care to comment on that, Tim?
Why do I need to
Why Tim?
Oh, yeah. Tim, what am I on about? Oh, my head's gone. We'll wait till Blunners comes back. I'm so used to, you remember we did it the other day? Triangle Face Watch.
We did. Tim was
like, oh, right. You think that's about Blunners. That's not about me.
I'm all confused. Do you know what? The whole Christmas period.
For Santa, or
like... The whole Christmas period. Yeah, I'm totally confused what day it is, what time.
On a side note, I was Santa this year. I did actually. I was the Santa. It wasn't me. There are many Santas. But I was the Santa at my daughter's nursery. So I had like the beard and the hat and wig. I was like, I really hope she doesn't recognise me. I don't wear my glasses. And out of all the kids, she was the one that came closest up to me, was talking to me so much. I'm like, just tried not to recognise me, but I got away with it. She didn't realise it was me. So yes, I was actually Santa this year. So I didn't know that.
Nice.
Maybe you knew that and you thought it was suspicious. So just
See, I'm so nervous. That's what it is. Pull it together. I'll try.
I want to know if like one experience with one Santa like goes through the Santa hive mind. You know, like if all of the individual Santas are connected by suit and service to the Christmas period. You know, so if Blunners did kiss a Santa, does that count as him kissing Tim? That's the question. That's the main crux of this. Are the Santas all connected? Is there one Overlord Santa? Is it like I need to know the theories.
Do you know?
I've get comment.
That's one thing I never really thought about. I was always more concerned about the how if he's really fast or he manipulates time, and I think he manipulates time.
So you think it's one Santa?
I think it's maybe one Santa that manipulates time in some way.
What, like Doc from Back to the Future?
And I'm thinking more like the Flash has got the Speed Force. Perhaps Santa has got like the Santa Force.
Or is that
yeah?
What's that film? Trances, where he presses a button on his watch and it freezes time for a little bit. Is it like that?
Yeah, maybe that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good film. So watch it. Trances, very good.
Okay. We've kind of this conversation should have really been on a Christmas special, really. It's 2023 now. Let's leave all the Christmas talk behind us.
Yeah, we'll start talking about New Year.
Sorry, I'll leave any more Santa hive mind questions to the way.
No, it's
a good question. Though. I'd love to hear people's opinions in the chat. What people think. Rick's mentioned it here. Sorry.
Exactly, Santa is the Borg.
He's a Borg. There you go.
He's a Borg. Oh, there we go. Solves all my questions.
Shocking. Anyway, I've robbed Tim, or Dorbs has robbed Tim there of asking about Mass Effect Andromeda, which always seems to be a controversial topic.
Yeah, because I mean, I really liked it when it came out, but I had a lot of people didn't like it, and it kind of got a bit slammed on reviews, and people were complaining about faces and eyes and stuff. And I was like, I thought it was a great game. But yeah, I just wonder what you thought of Andromeda.
I was fine with it, but I'm a big supporter and defender of Mass Effect 3's ending, though. So, like, Mass Effect Andromeda came out. So, what is everyone going on for? Like, it's fine. And I had a great time with it. So, yeah, I think I was very much in the camp of more Mass Effect is good Mass Effect. And I was interested to see kind of like a little bit of a different story. I just had a nice time. I didn't think it was like world changing. I didn't think it was it wasn't like the Shepard trilogy, but that was fine. It was nice to play. I think people are so fixated on having like it's got to be world changingly good or it's the worst thing they've ever played that they just forget that it's okay. Okay is a thing.
100%.
Do you know what? I think the game I played just before Mass Effect, I think is one of the Gears of War. I don't know, I can't remember which one it was now. I think I just finished like Gears of War 3, which the entire game is pretty much just walk forward and shoot stuff. As great as those games are, that is it, isn't it? It's literally just like this. In this bit, you have to shoot everything and then you move on. And that's just the entire game. So to go from that to Mass Effect, which has got loads more story and like the bits where you're actually doing all the little hunt quests for people and you get to know the characters, it was so much more of a fleshed out game than what I just played. I think I just really enjoyed it for that reason because, yeah, it just felt like a much fuller game than just running around shooting stuff.
Yeah, for sure. No, I really liked it, and I liked seeing a few different aliens and like different parts of the just the wider lore of that whole place. It was like it just felt like returning home in it. Like I played so many Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. I played that series a few times, Mass Effect 2 so many times. So having Andromeda was just a different experience. Was just like, give it me.
Yeah. I find that with movies as well, though. Like just the comment that Rick said then, it's that idea that, and like you said earlier, it's just people either think it's the best thing that's ever happened or it's absolute garbage. There's none of this. Like people forget that the middle ground is okay. Like it's fine if something's just average, but it's got some good bits in it. Like it's totally fine. Like
that's so allowable. That's all of horror. That's it. Like all of it's fine with good bits in it. Like.
Exactly. Especially if you take some of those really, there's a whole bunch of them fucking there. Most of that shelf is all just terrible horror. But it's so terrible.
Like collector's edition in the middle of that as your point over there, going, oh yeah, rubbish.
Yeah.
There is
in the middle.
No, there is some tripe in there. There is. Yes, I have a dreadful bootleg Blu-ray copy of Evil Dead Trap 1, 2, and 3, and I haven't quite managed to make it to 2 and 3 yet. So, but yeah. But yeah, before we dive into anything else, speaking of Evil Dead, did you see the Evil Dead Rise trailer today?
I haven't seen the trailer yet. I saw the poster and was like, oh, delicious. I'm not really a big trailer chaser. Like I like I like either coming across them and thinking maybe I'll watch a bit of it, or not watching it at all if I know I'm going to enjoy it. But obviously that kind of is at ends with my job a little bit. So when I have to watch something, great. But the Evil Dead stuff, I was like, I know I'm going to like it. I know it's going to be good. Let's hold off as long as possible, and maybe you'll get to it without seeing anything except posters. So I haven't seen it yet, but I think, to be honest, the amount of times the posters come up on my timeline, I'm not going to be able to resist much longer because it looks so good.
It's only April, isn't it, that it comes out? So it's really not that long.
Oh, it's just the woman in space being like, "Mommy loves you."
Yeah, there's I won't say anything. That trailer really got me. It was pretty decent.
I'm excited.
Sorry for anyone else that doesn't like Evil Dead horror or trailers or anything like that.
Nobody likes anything.
Oh, Mike Holton jumping in
right,
just before we bring him in.
Breaking news.
Mike Holton bringing in there. He watched Cannibal Holocaust for the first time yesterday. How have you gotten this far in life and only just seeing that now? What version did you watch?
I haven't seen that yet either.
There's which version did you watch? Because there's because 88 Films have just released their new 4K transfer of it, but it's still technically cut. I've got the one over there from America that's got the best cover of any Blu-ray, which has got all the animal bits in it that you watch once and go, oh, no, I'm not going to watch that again.
So got a bit of news. Everyone can calm down now. He's been found, and here he is. Right, Lenners.
Hey, hello. Right.
Oh wait, so it's being
right.
Yeah, are you going to apologise to Ash?
Oh, sorry, Ash. My son plays football. I have to try and get back in time.
I heard you had a little soiree with Santa along the way.
Yeah, I got a message.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I got a message on Blumwatch saying you were found kissing Santa Claus underneath the mistletoe last night. So, do you care to comment on that?
It's a bit better. Yeah, better than a trouser accident.
It is. But no, he's here, safe and sound. So that's good.
Excellent. Oh, there's lots of horror stuff coming into the chat now, which is really good. Who doesn't love horror? So we've got there's the Unholy Pentagram, Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Haunting Ground, Project Zero, Eternal Darkness. I mean, that I'd find that hard to argue with that. That's a pretty good set of horror games.
I like how they picked the pentagram as well, like to get the 5 around the edge.
Exactly. If we're going to go all horror, we're going to go all in.
Yeah. Out of those ones, I think. Oh god, they all do a different thing though, don't they? I'm trying to think like what one I would pick. Like, I love a good like brainy representative horror, like a good psychological. So I think Silent Hill would be the one. But Resident Evil, it's got to be Resident Evil. It actually has to be Resident Evil a little bit.
I like the first one.
Resident Evil or Silent Hill?
Resident Evil.
Yes. Yeah.
I really liked the first one. The others are a bit but I really like the first one.
Oh, the newest one
are so good.
The newest one, Village, is cracking. I had a lot of fun.
And the first
with
one got that little girl that's always like, "You're going to die."
Was that not the movie? Or maybe they did.
The movie. Well.
Yeah. It's been so long since I've played the very first game.
Yeah, the robot girl, wasn't it? You're going to die. Yes. and they're in the hallway as well, all the lasers.
Yeah, the laser room that seems to have a sense of humor, where it will give you the ability to dodge the first 2 lasers and then the inescapable laser at the end. Like,
It's good.
You got to make them think. You got to make them think they can escape. Not for Colin's salmon, though.
Give me a little bit of a tease.
Shocking. Okie dokie. So we've gone through some of your favorite games. Your PS2 is being a potential for your favorite console.
Yeah.
So we are going to ask you now about, you are most known for being a journalist, not necessarily just of video games, also lots of horror stuff as well. What was it that really sort of pulled you into just journalism to start with? So where was it that you started, for people that maybe don't know where you started? Because people will probably know you from What Culture and PlayStation Access, and just take us on your journalism journey.
The journeyism. I really like being called a journalist. It makes me feel like way more accomplished than just make things for the internet. I didn't always know that I wanted to do it, but then I started doing film studies at school because I've always liked films and games and all that sort of stuff. So it was like when they started offering film studies at A level, I was like, cool, I'll jump on that. Really enjoyed it. I thought back then I was going to go into special effects makeup, like that was the path I was going to take because I loved horror, I loved spooky stuff, and I really liked makeup, and I did modeling as well. So I thought, this is most of my chance to combine it all together. I'm going to do special effects. And I actually wrote my personal statement because I was going to go and do it at uni, so I had like a formal training, and I got it all like ready and to submit. And literally before I submitted it, I was like, I think I'm going to do film studies instead. I like just changed it like on a whim. Went for film studies and English literature because I figured it would be more employable. That old chestnut.
Yeah.
I just wanted to do film studies, but I figured the English literature would help. And when I was at University of Southampton, University of Southampton, I started writing for. Sorry, that made me laugh.
Blunners is in a time delay. There's always
there's
an ever so slight time delay with Blunners for some reason. We haven't quite figured out what it is.
It's like he's on live, satellite feed from like the 90s, and there's a massive delay.
It's the Santa Claus paradox that we mentioned earlier with Tim and time and space. So.
Oh man, yeah, he's got the time powers now. Absorbed them from making out with Santa.
Sorry, we interrupted you there. University of Southampton.
Yes, sorry, I was just waiting to see if that would catch up with Blunners at any point. But yes, University of Southampton, where they have an entertainment magazine called The Edge. I love The Edge. The Edge was my baby. I started writing for there, and I kind of realised that I think kind of before I'd always written, but I didn't really know what to do with it. As soon as I started doing entertainment journalism and realizing, oh my God, I can write about films, can write about games, TV, like board games, festivals, all this sort of stuff. I kind of clocked. I was like, oh my God, this is what I want to do. Like, this is so much fun. It's so freeing. Like, I've always like had this writing background, and now I can apply it to something that really like appeals to me. So I explored that at university a lot, and then I worked for another student magazine. I worked at a bar for a long time, for a year, not too long, whilst working for another student magazine as like a film assistant editor. And then I also was doing freelancing for a magazine in Yorkshire. I've never lived in Yorkshire, but I was working for a magazine in Yorkshire. Just that one, because I got some really good opportunities for kind of physical release reviews. So I did that for a while, and I was still modeling, and I was really like, oh man, I want to do this, but I don't know how to do it. And I was really kind of stuck and applying for things. And it happened that one of the people that I worked with at the student magazine was working for What Culture, and I saw them post about it and thought, oh, I'll apply for there. That sounds great. And I saw that they were looking for like voiceover artists and people for camera work. And I was like, well, I've done modeling for these past few years. I know how to be in front of a camera, maybe, and I can write, so I can do all of the article stuff. And I just kind of shooteth my shotteth, and I got the job. So that was crazy. And then What Culture was like a whirlwind dream come true of being able to write about everything I love. I managed to like set up the horror channel. Got into the gaming team just from knowing about like games and stuff as it was my hobby for so long. And then it became like, instead of me doing just films and horror stuff, it was like, oh my God, I know about games, I can write about those as well. So went and worked with What Culture Gaming. And then when the PlayStation Access job came up, I was like, here we go. So went over there as well. And it's been right place, right time for a lot of it, but like a lot of hard work in the background, but I don't dispute that I've had a bit of luck as well. So it's been really good though. I really like it. Really like the job.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what is it they all saying? If you enjoy your job, you never actually work, which has always got to be good. But no, you know, What Culture is where I first came across you and the great team that you had there, and What Culture Horror was. It just constantly looked like you were having an absolute riot. It just looked like it was the best fun, the best time getting to write and talk horror movies all the time. And we've said to people before, whether they're content creators or whatever part of the industry they've been part from, you can always tell when people really enjoy something, and you can always tell when people are kind of scriptedly enjoying something. But generally, the people that really enjoy the things that they're talking about are the people that will be sort of gravitatable. People go to those people for their fix of news, their reviews, their opinions, or just to hear them talk about it, because it's people enjoy listening to people who are excited about stuff. So it's always good when you do enjoy what you're doing, because then people will massively enjoy your output as well. But yeah, so was What Culture Horror something that you managed to start when you sort of got your foot through there?
Yes, it was basically it kind of came a little bit from when I started there. I pitched so many horror articles and wrote so many horror things that it was taking over the main channel a bit. Like, it just was becoming like there was too much horror stuff on the main channel. So it was a bit born from that, and a bit born from a few other things. And it was something that I kind of championed for a little while until it finally got set up. And then that was really good to be able to actually have like a physical place to put all of that stuff and do the little adverts for it and all that sort of thing.
Oh, getting my mouse stuck there. Sorry, Mike completely took my attention by mentioning Irreversible. There's not many films that I'll only watch once, but Irreversible was one of them that I felt like, great movie, only going to watch it once.
Yeah. Okay, that's nice. Thank you.
There's lots of people chatting about Alien in the chat, and again, Alien is like, that's up there on the list. Normally,
100% love Alien. My dad's favorite films are Alien and Aliens. Aliens being his favorite one, so that's another one that I've seen religiously, like gaming and Alien and Conan and Predator.
Oh, classic.
What were your thoughts on we're just sideways segueing into Predator there. What were your thoughts on Prey? Did you get a kick out of that?
Yeah, I loved Prey. I thought it was really good. I love all of the really dumb stuff, like in these like big series though. So like Alien versus Predator is one of my favorites of that whole bunch, because it's silly. It's just aliens and predators fighting each other. So I feel like Prey kind of moved back into taking it quite seriously, but it still had that sense of fun to it, and putting like the green blood on her face and having that as the poster. I really enjoyed it. I liked that she just had an axe on a string as well and was like with it the whole time. Like, it's good stuff.
I haven't seen it yet, so spoilers.
No spoilers.
Yeah.
What was the Alien film? Which one was it? I think there's an Alien versus Predator film I remember watching that was like, I've only seen it once. I can't remember which one it was. It was one of those. It felt like a B movie, which is like an alien just turns up in like some American suburbia town. And it's like a normal horror film. Which one was that?
Requiem.
Requiem. Yeah, I actually quite enjoyed that one. Like, I think a lot of people slammed it, said it was rubbish. But I was like, it doesn't feel like an Alien film, but I actually thought it was quite a decent, just generic horror film.
It's when we were saying earlier about movies that are just average, and that's okay because it's got like one or two really good bits in it. That's what I felt about with Requiem. I felt like I had sunglasses on the whole time. It's so fucking dark.
Yeah.
You are like, okay, I can just about make out what's going on there, which is a shame because that Pred alien suit's pretty cool.
Oh, that one in Requiem, that one scare where someone's looking through their glass French doors. Wriggling my fingers, sorry, I'm like casting a spell. This one's looking through their doors to their back garden, and the alien's on the other side, and they're looking through, and they can't see because it's reflective, and it's like that proper, the way that you think when you're at home alone and the windows are all dark.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, exactly that.
So good.
Sorry, what is we're saying there? Only worst movie, Alien vs Predator 2 spent half the movie. Yeah. That is probably a fair statement. The actual story of AVP2 was a bit weird.
I don't think I've seen that one. I've seen the first one.
I remember the first one being good fun. I can lend that to you, Dorbs. It's one of those things.
I've got Alien. I've got both of them, but I don't think I've seen the second one.
It had Alien in it, so I had to pick it up. It's like anything Silent Hill. Like Silent Hill, second Silent Hill movie is terrible, but it had Silent Hill written on it, so I kind of had to get it. Physical media collection.
I like Predator 2, not more than Predator 1, but I like Predator 2 because of King Willie. just his accent, I love his accent. It's so funny, and his catchphrases, shit happens. Love it, amazing.
I couldn't tell if you'd gone then, Ash. Your screen appears to have frozen solid.
Yeah, I can see that I'm solid. I was trying to change it, so I was like, maybe if I stop the camera for a second. I don't know how to make it not freeze. Am I moving at all for you?
No.
I've been doing a nice smile the whole time, just in case.
But we can hear you, which is always good.
Can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, shall I refresh? Will that do bad things?
You can have a go. We can have a go.
We'll
might get logged out. Yeah, it might get logged out.
Talk amongst ourselves while Ash refreshes. Yes.
Yeah, like that line there. Fucking magic, man. Brilliant. Yeah, I love King Willie. Shame he died, really. Spoiler. It's a shame he died. Yeah,
spoiler.
If you haven't seen it,
it's a bit like say spoiler after you say. Yeah, true. You're supposed to say spoiler before you say what happens.
But is it spoil? If it's been out 30 years, is it a spoiler?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
That's a good shout. It's almost a bit like. It's almost a bit like people saying, someone saying that Titanic was a spoiler. Like, well, the boat's going to sink.
Spoiler. You don't know that he's going to. Oh, should I say it? That he dies in the end.
Again, a very old film now. I think we're allowed to talk about it if it's been out that long.
Yeah,
I think Titanic, the original Titanic.
Was there any other Titanics that have come out?
There was the 1950s, A Night to Remember.
Is that good? Bad? I've not seen it.
It's great. It's a 1950s movie, so it's very of its time. But the special effects I thought were fantastic when you watch it now. Even on a Blu-ray, it's really, really good.
A cool girl of Cthulhu.
Cool girl of Cthulhu.
Here we are. We have Ash. She appears to be moving.
Yes.
Great.
Sorry, I got stuck. I was like, trying to press everything really fast.
There we go. We are in. Sorry, you didn't miss much. It was just us chatting about spoilers and
Predator 2, King Willie. What else? I think that was
good stuff.
The Titanic.
Yes, the Titanic does sink. Yes, Mike Cotton. 1958. We're trying to figure out which year the A Night to Remember came out.
Oh my god! I thought we were going to try to figure out like Titanic and timelines. I was like, where did 1958 come from?
Yes, no. We're not. There's no conspiracy timeline or anything there. We're all good. We're all good. Okay, so you came through on What Culture, and as you alluded to there, the next sort of big step for you was PlayStation Access, which for a lot of people who like PlayStation news or just good video game news, a lot of people will have been going to PlayStation Access for quite a while. It's definitely a channel that I've always gone to for some good news and just good people watching it and people enjoying themselves, enjoying the company. When did you join PlayStation Access?
Ooh, it was. Oh my god, is it coming up to 2 years or 3? I don't know. I think I've been there 2 years and a bit. Yeah, that was like, my brain was doing some serious maths then. I thought I joined in February, but I joined What Culture in February and I joined PlayStation Access in October. So it's been just over 2 years now.
Excellent. Enjoying it, of course.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone is such an angel. Like, they're so lovely. Like, they're amazing. It's a great job.
And how did that come about for you to be able to join the team?
They had a job listing and I applied for it. That was the main thing. Yeah, it was. I caught their job application and just again shoot my shot, and it worked. So
brilliant.
Shoot at shots and things that are sticking, which is always good.
Hey, I know exactly. It's just a case of always putting yourself out there for stuff you want in it, like, and then hopefully it comes back positive, and if not, you just try again. But luckily, I was allowed in, so that worked out well.
Can you remember what is the first thing you did for PlayStation Access? Can you remember what the first piece you would have worked on?
The first video I was in was, guess who's joined PlayStation Access? It was me. After that, the first stream we did was Cake Bash. It was like a 4-player party stream. My first written piece would have been something for like the store or the Plus update, because that was like just getting into the swing of things. And I think my first like proper feature video was the Bug Snacks is actually a horror game. I did that as one of my early pieces.
Oh man,
One of Ollie's favourites.
dude. I rate Bug Snacks. I know people say it's a kid's game, but wow, that game's
Not with the
melancholy as fuck.
Love it.
That whole game. I mean, the music's kind of cool, and it was nice and cute and relaxing, and just catching all the different bug snacks, and you know, I felt a bit mean throwing the bug into the I can't remember what the one's name is, the one that's like the equivalent of a vegan, and I like force fed him a bug in his sleep.
Oh yes, yeah. Bramble, I think.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. I felt so bad, but it was the only way to get that platinum was to make it.
He loved it as well. He was like, "Oh God!" And then turned into a Bug Snacks. Please stop it! Please stop! I'm night eating, and then you're like,
yeah, keep eating. But yeah, that ending, good grief! Like, I would completely agree. I would say Bug Snacks is a horror game masked up as a kid's game.
100%. That Cronenbergian beast at the end of the game. Oh my God, I loved it. I fell down the hole and was like, "What's happened?"
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So for anyone out there that thinks Bug Snacks is a kid's game, technically yes, but get on it if you haven't. Mr. Waller, what were we saying there? Bug Snacks was a game I'd never really... Yes, exactly that. And it's just come out on Nintendo Switch as well. So there's literally no excuse. It's almost on everything. What was that, Dobbs?
I played it.
What, Bug Snacks?
Yeah.
You have played it or you haven't played it?
No, I haven't played it.
Oh, dude. You jump on it.
I feel I'm missing out. It's only 23 quid on Amazon. I might treat myself. I might treat myself and get it. Check it out.
Do it.
All right. You twisted my arm. I'll get it.
You'll get a lot of fun out of it, and you can platinum it. Dorbs likes to go for the full platinum on many games, so you will absolutely be able to get that in one playthrough.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, I'll definitely get it then. I'm ordering that. I do like a platinum.
It is good. It's a nice platinum to get because it's just play the whole game basically, and then if you miss anything, it gives you a save just before like the final section, so you can go back and sort it all out.
Oh.
Unmissable.
Okay. Oh, do you know what? I'm going to order that.
Platinum, he's like,
yeah.
Here we go. Mr. Waller is throwing it out there. All you need to do now is play Final Fantasy VII and Bug Snacks.
I'm not playing Final Fantasy VII.
You are
it's garbage.
set.
It's the worst game. Sorry, not the worst game. That's not very fair. It's one of the worst games ever. It's awful.
One off.
If I can play 13 FIFA games, you can play one Final Fantasy game. I think that's
maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it for charity. I'll do a charity thing.
Do it for charity.
And I'll play it for maybe half an hour for charity. People want to donate to charity. I'll do it.
Half an hour? Maybe people can sponsor you for the amount of time, and then it'll be like we'd add the time up. So if we had enough sponsors, you'd have to play it for like 24 hours or something.
Oh, I can't play it for 24 hours. No.
Yeah, we'll have to, if you get sponsored, maybe, you can
barely scratch the surface.
I'll do it until I have like 10 fights, which will probably be 10 minutes of the game, won't it?
If you can't tell, Dorbs doesn't like Final Fantasy VII, and it is mine and Tim's favourite game of all time.
I haven't played it. Because I haven't played the original one, and the new one, the remake came out. I played a bit of the remake. I did play a bit of the remake, but to me, it is the cat game because I only know that bit in the slums where it's full of cats and you chase them around.
I did not care for that part. To be fair.
That's the only bit that I was like, yes, like this is for me. But yeah, just Final Fantasy isn't. It's not really my wavelength, so I'm actually with Dorbs on this one.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Get in there.
Dorbs going to clip that now, and we're going to have
unbelievable
plays.
Yeah,
I think.
That's two high-profile people that agree with me, so I'm very happy.
We'll get a montage soon of anyone that's ever said they don't like Final Fantasy on one of our streams. There'll be a little compilation by Dorbs of anyone who doesn't like it.
To be fair, I don't know if I don't like it. I just the Final Fantasy. I don't know. I never played it growing up. Any of the Final Fantasies, and what I've seen of all of the different games, just doesn't appeal to me. It doesn't appeal to me, man. Like,
it's very specific.
You have a fight. You walk around. You have a fight.
It's very emotional as well.
It's awful.
I don't want to be made to cry.
Oh man,
it's quite
I do
a time
love an
investment
emotional
as well.
game.
it's quite a time investment. Final Fantasy games, like any of them, I think, take quite a while to play through, and they're fairly long RPGs. So you need to buy into it, don't you?
No, I do like an emotional game.
I'm just
mentioning there, not made want to cry. Nobody wants to cry, but man, I do like a game that really does go for it and kind of pull on them heartstrings. I found that with the first Life is Strange. Ryan, who's at football now, his missus was like, "Oh, Ollie, you need to play Life is Strange." So I picked up Life is Strange, played that, and got to about episode 3 or 4. I won't spoil that because there is definitely a thing that happens at the end of one of those episodes, and good grief, that ruined me.
Yeah,
absolutely ruined me. yeah.
Life is Strange is great. Yeah,
Life is Strange is very, very cool. And I actually, Firewatch is another game that really like choked me up by sort of the midway point, and you start thinking, "Oh man, I feel really bad for this guy," and then the end, and you're like, "Oh, that was a bit sad." I didn't end happy. Like, yeah, exactly, right in the feels. Oh, Final Fantasy VII spoiler alert from Mike Locke. Where are we at? Exactly. It's one of the most clipped, I think, sequences. Although, to be fair, when I first played that really did shock me. I think that's the end of disc 1 when that happens, and that really did shock me. You thought, "Oh my god, they've killed a main character! Like, this doesn't happen. This isn't Scream. Like, Drew Barrymore hasn't died in the open."
To be fair, they have killed off main characters in previous Final Fantasy games, but 7 was the first one that I played. I've since gone back and played some older ones, and in some of the older ones, some of the main characters get killed off on those as well. So probably not as shocking if you'd played them before.
But I've just ordered Bug Snacks off of Amazon, so it'll be here Friday. So I'll keep you informed of my progress. I'll get on with that.
You'll be singing the Caro Caro Bonito song like the whole time as well. You can put that on just on loop in the background.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll look forward to that.
You should live stream the Bug Snacks for the Platinum. So like you did for what was it you did that for? Cyberpunk, the very last moment. So you have to before you dive into the pit of terror for that final part, you have to jump on the live stream for that, so we can see you get that last little platinum there.
Well, on the live streams, the platinums don't pop, the trophies don't pop up. I can see it, but no, you can't see them on YouTube, which is a bit annoying. So maybe I'll have to figure something out. But yeah. Anyway, I digress. Sorry. Carry on. Sorry.
Nothing wrong with digressing. See there again, just another plug for Bug Snacks. It's cannibalistic horror.
It is. Oh, it is. Spoiler, but yeah, it is.
Excellent. So before we came live a couple of weeks ago, when you agreed to come on with us, we threw some hashtags at you, one of which is in commemoration of Mr. Rick Waller, who is in the chat there, and that is our hashtag Waller's Remasters, where we like to give anyone that comes on the opportunity to suggest up to 3 games, possibly more if you've got some random titles in there that you think deserve a remake or a remaster for a current generation of console and gamer. So are there some games that you think that haven't been remade or remastered that you think really need to be put out there for people?
Oh man, Sly Raccoon. I want to see it. Like I want the whole collection on PS5 is what I want. That's all I ask for.
Yeah, I think Sly is one of Glunner's little favourites there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
There it is.
Yeah! Bring it to PS5.
I recently picked them back up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is it about Sly that really sort of...
So good.
What is it with Sly that really, really sort of clicks with you?
Oh man, it was one of the ones... There we go. There's the Sly Raccoon. I love how he's called Sly Raccoon in the UK as well. Raccoonist. Yes. It was another one that I just played endlessly when I was young. Oh, there it is.
He's got it all. Box complete.
Oh man, I used to flip through that book like the little Phoebius raccoon she got in the case.
Yep.
But yeah, it was just one that I played so much when I was younger. I used to go back and just do the voodoo levels over and over again because I loved Ms. Ruby, and it would be like, "Oh, my assistant, Chumley," and it's that little turtle where you're hopping over them. 3D. 3D. Hey, got the 3D sly glasses.
I love 3D.
That'll be that really,
I'm not
really
sure if I've
packed
got them in
3D with
here.
the red and green, or red and blue
Yeah.
tints on your.
Oh, I
Yeah,
think
one of
they're
the
upstairs.
Final Destination films has that, doesn't it? Awful.
Yes. Spy Kids 3D had them.
Did they?
Yeah. It's pretty hardcore. It's not
Oh, they
quite
used
the
to
3D
get
that you get
them-
with Avatar 2, is it? But it's
Jaws
there's a-
Jaws 3 as well, I remember.
I can remember getting a few when they had a thing for, I think it was Comic Relief, did like a TV event where they had like a bunch of 3D stuff on TV, and then you could get in all the shops they're selling like the different glasses and stuff. There's
I had it on,
couple of cartoons that had 3D on as well back then.
Yeah.
It was, what was it called? Something with robots in it. Bots Master, I think it's called. It was like an okay kids TV show. It wasn't great, but it had, whenever they got into a fight, it would go, oh, it's laser time. It had like an image of 3D glasses would show up on the screen, and if you had 3D glasses, then that sequence would all be like 3D. I used to remember watching that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
The show was
These
just
Times
okay,
also
but the fact that it was 3D,
as
I was like, oh, I need to watch it because it's got 3D in it.
100%.
Yeah, 3Ds, and there's the other one.
These are times that things are good. Well,
That's the
Yeah.
new 3D as well, though, isn't it? That's like the actual
Amazing,
3D that looks 3D.
yeah, that's actual 3D. Yeah.
Not lame 90s 3D.
The real deal.
Yeah, proper.
So, outside of Sly, were there any other titles you wanted to bring in for your remaster section?
Oh, honestly, I keep looking over there because that's where my little pile of PS2 games are. I would really love a remaster of Oblivion. Like, I would love that so much because, like, I feel like Skyrim's had so many releases in different formats and like updates. Oblivion was my baby. Like, oh my god, playing as little Khajiit roaming the lands. I want to do that again, but like in Oblivion, shutting down the Oblivion gates, hanging out with the the Dremora, whatever, just having a great time. Oh, I would love for that to get a proper PS5 release.
I'd love to see that
like
in VR as well, because I really like Skyrim VR. To get Oblivion VR as well would be excellent.
Imagine going into like the gates genuinely, and like everything's just like rotting and burning, and you're in there in VR.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I found, the one thing I find better with Skyrim is like, obviously they've got the dragons is the thing, is it's going around. If you're just like on your way to a town to do something and you happen to see a dragon fly past, you're like, oh, I've got time, I'll take care of this dragon.
Yeah.
But in Oblivion, if you're on your way to a town and you see an Oblivion gate, you're like, oh, fuck's sake. I'm going to go to the gate and deal with that because it takes quite a while to do. And I remember every now and then I'd be like, I see an Oblivion gate, it's like, I'm just going to leave this one. I'm just going to keep walking. That gate can stay open. I've really got to go and deliver this bread or whatever it is I'm doing.
Yeah, I've got things to do. Thank you.
Excellent game though.
That one I used to reload just to play the Dark Brotherhood quest, where you go into a house party that they're having, and you have to wear your fancy like clothes and murder people without anyone else seeing. That is such a good quest. That in VR as well, where you've got to talk to them and then like check around to see if anybody's in the room, would be so good.
I think it was in Oblivion and not Skyrim. And there was a mission where you had to go inside a picture. And before you went in the picture, you can get turpentine, and you could apply the turpentine to like your sword or something, and you go and fight like trolls. But everything was like you're inside a painting. Like that would be pretty cool in VR as well, I think.
I feel like that was Oblivion. Like that feels very Oblivion to me. But Oblivion. They might have done it in Skyrim as well. For ages, I used to have like memories of that and think that it was from another game. And I was like, I can't remember where this has come from. Like, when did I go into a painting? And it was like a real weird, dreamy landscape. Oh my god, I'm really excited talking about Oblivion because it was really amazing. So good.
It feels like Oblivion is something that the modern community are somehow going to be doing. Oh, I made that up. Is there something going on? Like, because my son's studying video game design at university, and I know there was. Maybe it was Oblivion. I can't remember. I'll have to ask him after this.
I think there were quite a lot of Oblivion mods, because there's loads of Skyrim mods, right? Like people mod Skyrim like crazy. I'm pretty sure they did it for Oblivion as well.
Yeah, because I know I'm sure it was Oblivion that he was on a chat room, and these people were like seriously starting to try and put it together so they could almost bring Oblivion up to modern PC standards. And he was like, "Oh, I kind of want to do that." And you're like, "Oh, yeah, go for it if they're letting you in and letting you build stuff." But yeah, Oblivion's one that people always kind of come back to and say that they really love, because I think the music in Oblivion is also it's proper fantasy type music, which I really like. And
that Oblivion trailer, I think, gives me goosebumps. The one where he does the king bit at the very start. That's such a brilliant opening.
Oh, the trumpet when you open it goes do 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 do. Oh, and they're like, that meme of the boy like
Yeah, exactly that. And I just feel like you said, Skyrim seems to be, it's like Grand Theft Auto, or Grand Theft Auto 5. Skyrim is on every console going since 360, and it feels like for a long period of time, it felt like we were never going to get another Elder Scrolls game. It felt like we were just going to get Skyrim forever.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Grand Theft Auto. It's like, oh my God, just GTA 5 again. We're just going to never get a new Grand Theft Auto. Obviously, we're all wrong. There's, new GTA and new Elder Scrolls coming. But yeah, it's some of those games that people really love, like Oblivion. It kind of feels like, yeah, maybe people should. Maybe Bethesda could go back and
maybe a little treat.
Yeah, bring it up to standards. I can't imagine it. Well, no, I don't build video games. So I have no idea what I'm talking about. It probably is the hardest task of anything would be to bring Oblivion up to state. But yeah,
it would be good. Oh, I'm dreaming. And any of the other like little titles I've mentioned, like Drakan or Vex or anything from those PS2 era. Drakan the Ancient Skates, I would love a remaster of. Like, it's literally you play a woman with a big sword that rides around on your dragon called Arok. And it's so good. Like, it's pure fantasy nonsense. There's people like with these spinning heads, these demon lords. There's little toad people that live in caves that you have to fight off. It's actually quite hard. It's one of those ones where if you pause it, the game continues. So you'll be like trying to do all your potions and stuff, and someone will come and punch you in the head whilst you're in the middle of doing it all. I miss it.
That's a good question from Harry. You're probably the person that would probably have a better idea as to which one would come first. What is coming first, GTA 6 or the new Elder Scrolls?
I have no idea.
I have no idea either.
I have no idea.
I would bet Elder Scrolls just purely because the trailer for that looked like an actual cinematic trailer when they released that, and the GTA 6 stuff was just like really early models, I think, wasn't it? That they leaked.
Yeah.
But the Starfield's coming first, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you've got a whole game in between them. So I don't know.
And to be fair, that is probably something that would also force me to buy an Xbox because that does look pretty good.
Starfield.
It looks pretty good. Oh dear! Is there a nerve there with the screaming?
No, it's just anything from Bethesda. I'm like, because I just grew up on Oblivion, grew up on Skyrim, all the fantasy stuff. Starfield going a bit sci-fi like freaks me out a bit, like, but I think Mass Effect being such a part of my blood will. There's just too many good games.
Yeah, I mean Bethesda, I think have shown they could do it when they brought Doom back, and it was absolutely belting.
So good, yeah.
Absolutely
and
belting.
Prey as well. They did a good job with Prey.
I didn't go to the newest one. I only played the original one, the one that had the After Midnight Project song at the end of it, where you're the Native American. I didn't play the newer one though, so I have no idea if that was any good. I remember the trailer.
It was just killing mimics in space, and it was very, very much that spooky space, eerie vibe with lots of different powers, like BioShock meets horror, more horror.
I'll take BioShock. That's up there as one of my favorite games of all time as well.
It's very BioShocky. Sorry, I've struggled to think of the crossover there. My brain's a bit slow today, but yeah, BioShock meets. There's another game that it's really similar to, and it's just left my head completely. But it is good. Excellent.
There's another game for the modding community there that Elder Scrolls Vice City. Yes, I would. I would play that.
Yeah.
Excellent. Tim, just because BioShock has been mentioned, have you started BioShock yet?
I did start it. I didn't kind of get into it, and I jumped ship to something else. I think I did Uncharted, so I'll probably go back to BioShock, but I haven't gone back to it yet. I have had a detour to play FIFA.
Which one?
I've got Mario Kart. I've got Mario Kart as well. And what else was I playing? I then got Tekken 7. I've got a backlog already, so it's moving further down the list, I'm afraid.
Dude, push it back up that list. Pull it back up.
Try my best. I'll push it back up my list.
Yeah, back up that list. Okay, and the other hashtag, which is our tribute to Liam McGuff, because it again became a tangent, and it became a really fun tangent. That was Liam's love to hate. If you have any video games that you know are not necessarily that good, but you still just go back to them like a crack addict because there is something about them that you just think, this is crap, but I don't care. Is there a game that you love to hate?
Well, I don't love to hate it. I love to love it, but everyone else hates it. Evolve. I was like the biggest fan of Evolve.
I liked Evolve.
Yeah, I stand by Evolve being great and fun and a sick idea with cool monsters and a fun concept. And everyone else was really like, Evolve. No, it's good and I like it. And I'm really sad. I was really sad when they shut the servers down. But I saw an article the other day that was like, they've turned on or something like that. Oh. So maybe it's back. Maybe it'll be back. That would be great.
Make it a comeback. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a remaster. Who knows?
What is it about Evolve that people didn't like?
I don't know. People are just bitter and they don't know a good thing when they've got it.
Yeah.
That's why.
I thought it was great. I don't get why people didn't like it. I just don't think many people were playing it.
I got slammed on at What Culture by all of my colleagues, my friends, for liking Evolve. Like it was a running joke that I liked Evolve, and they all thought that it was not good. So I definitely stand by that one. But I'm glad to see that that's not very controversial here.
No, Evolve was great.
We're quite open-minded.
Played it with like some friends who were all obviously like in group chatting on the headsets and stuff. And I just remember one of my friends when he would always like being the monster. And he would like whenever he killed someone, you could just hear him over the group chat go. Whenever he killed someone, it's like me.
Yes.
No, there is always something, isn't there, in a group of friends? There's always something that people will give someone a hard time for enjoying, and mine was I have a group of friends that over lockdown we had a really big Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and it became this huge running joke when someone I can't remember how we got onto the topic. We got onto the topic of Batman v Superman, the long cut, the 3-hour extended edition. And I said, that's a good movie, that one. And just everyone in the group was just faces to be like, how do you think that's a good movie? Like, because it's a good movie. Like, it's not the best, but it's pretty fucking good, especially the long one where, you know, not everything's convenient, but yeah, all of a sudden that was it. There was this running joke for like the rest of the campaign, which is about 9 months, about how Batman v Superman was a terrible film, and clearly I'd like terrible films because I thought it was all right.
I thought it was all right.
I think there were some bad moments in it, but I don't think they actually ruined the whole film.
No,
everyone was kind of hung up on the Martha thing, right? Where it's like, oh, you have a mother called Martha too, and that was it. That was it. It's like, I didn't like that part of it. I think they could have ended their fight in a much better way. But I don't feel that one line broke the movie. So
no,
I still enjoyed it.
There was the worst part in that movie for me, but still doesn't ruin the film, was just how, you know, Bruce Wayne gets an email and he just has all these camera footages of Aquaman and the Flash and Wonder Woman, and they've got all their symbols like in the email on the attachment and stuff. And you're like, this movie cost like $400 million, and that's how we're going to introduce everyone in an email. Like, all right. And people were so hell bent on the Martha bit that they just seemed to forget that email bit existed.
We're going to die on the email hill, be like, no symbols.
Yeah, exactly. No symbols, no email. It's fine. But so there we go. People shit on you for liking Evolve. People shit on me for thinking BVS, the extended cut, is a good movie.
I don't have a big opinion on it, to be fair. Like I think I watched it and like whilst I was doing other stuff, and I didn't really feel either way about it. But that's also a bad opinion in the world sometimes, is just having none. Like I remember, I think I've said before, I don't really feel anything, and then I've had you have to choose love or hate.
Yeah. No indifference. You're not allowed to be indifferent.
Yeah.
Just be like, it's fine.
Not when it comes to Batman versus Superman, especially.
I did see one funny like little meme comic book that someone had done, and it's Darkseid, and it has like someone saying, "Well, Darkseid, we've closed down all of your boom tubes." Boom tubes. Sorry.
Boom tubes.
Just got this image of Darkseid in like a little boom tube. Completely made him not very villainy.
Darkseid, we closed all your boom tubes, and now you can't get out. And he's like welling up, saying, "But how will I get to see my mother, Martha?" And it just shows Batman, like, and everyone was like, "No." That was it. Quite funny.
Shocking.
If you ever get in an altercation with Batman, just tell him your mother's name is Martha, and he should let you off.
Yeah. A tear will roll down his cheek, we'll high five, and everything will be right with the world.
Lovely, beautiful.
Although that being said, I thought Robert Pattinson did a really good job as Batman.
He's great.
That seems to be a far less controversial opinion. Everybody sort of went in.
Nice car. I like the car.
I just thought it was a little bit long. I think it's quite a long film, so you kind of have to really be, in the right mindset to sit down and be in it for the long haul. But other than that, I actually thought it was great.
No, I quite like it when directors get overindulgent and a bit wanky and just make really long, sometimes sequences where you're like, that didn't need to be in there, but it looked cool, so leave it in. I'll take it. Right, let's jump to some of the starred comments from people that have asked some questions for you, Ash. So very well that we've kept you for just over an hour. So first question is from, I believe, Mr. Rick Waller's partner, which is
Jenny. Yeah, Jenny.
You love horror games, so what game would you like to be in and why? So I'm presuming we're talking about horror game?
Well, it says what horror game?
Yeah.
It does say what horror game. I missed out the horror bit. There's the part of my brain that's not kicking in.
Smudge on your glasses or something?
Yeah, might have. Just, what horror game would you like to be in and why?
Man, none of them is the actual answer because they're all horrible. This is a little bit of a tough one because all of them are severely unpleasant and have lots of horrible death mechanics. So assuming I would be the main character, it would be, this is a cheat, but I would say Doom because, if I could be Doom guy in a horror game, excellent, that would be great. Or let me think. Let me have a little rummage through the memory hole and see what comes up as a positive. Maybe Resident Evil Village, just so I can see Lady Domitrescu up close.
Yes. Yeah, I think there's quite a lot of people that would probably agree with you on that.
Yeah.
What about Alien Isolation?
That would be so horrible to be in. That would be like the worst one to be in, for sure. Trying to crawl through a vent knowing that the xenomorph's going to melt your feet if
Brilliant.
you...
It's so good. So good.
We meant to talk about mods and stuff earlier. I saw a video of a brilliant mod, which is Resident Evil Village, and every time you looked at her hat got bigger. But you didn't sit grow, but every time you looked, if you looked and looked away and looked back and looked away, her hat would just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and then she'd eventually, the hat would be phasing through the walls.
Good. That's a good mod, that is. I like that. Little frisbee head.
Okay, we have one from Mr. Mike Holton, which is, what game are you most hyped for this year?
Oh, this is a bit of a niche pull, but for me, it would be World of Horror, which is a pixel 8-bitty black and white Junji Ito inspired narrative clicky pointy, and it's been in early access for 3 years on PC, and it's coming to consoles in 2023 summer, and I've been waiting for it for literal years because I've been keeping tabs on this game. I'm really excited to finally get to play it on PlayStation when it comes out. So World of Horror, definitely. Also really excited for Choo Choo Charles, which is going to PlayStation next year as well, but came out in December last year for anyone who's not on PlayStation. And Alan Wake 2, obviously. That's going to be the big one for me.
Excellent. Just jumping in the chat there, we have our pal, Mr. Alistair Lowe. Just in time to be late again. Correct, sir. Correct. But it's a good stream. So please do jump back and jump in. Alistair Lowe owns Low Tech Studios, so he created the game Flea and Tapeworm, which are two very addictive puzzle games. If you ever feel like you need a new puzzle game in your life, I would highly recommend you jump onto those.
Stuck on me mic. 1 sec. There we go.
Oh, on stick. Still there. All good.
Yeah.
So, one from our very Mr. Dorber, which is your favorite horror film.
Fantastic question.
That is... I get asked this a lot. So I have a stock answer, which is The Descent. But
good answer.
That's my stock answer because, it's a British horror film. It's which I think the sensibility of scariness in British things, where it's a bit bleak and a bit unhappy. Like the ending, that is the specific UK ending, is delicious. I love that. I love that you can read into it and kind of have the different interpretations of what's going on with Sarah, if there is anything going on with Sarah, the psychological nonsense that goes on in there, as well as the grisly deaths, the found footage moment, Sarah in the bloodbath. It's just iconic. oh my god, I'd love to write like a piece for anything that has like a release for The Descent. Like it's definitely my favorite, but it would change depending on what I've seen recently, what year it is, how I'm feeling, like all that sort of stuff as well. So I think recently it would be Barbarian, which would then throw me back to Rec, because found footage
Rec,
is...
yes, I love found footage.
Yeah.
VHS, have you seen VHS?
Yeah, I love VHS. VHS 2.
Very good.
Didn't like the second one. I love
You didn't like the second one?
No.
The middle story, I can't think what it's called. That middle story with the cult in VHS 2.
Yes.
Should be its own film in its own
Yeah.
right. That was
the ending shot with the
that was magnificent.
I didn't think much of it for some reason, but I love the first one.
I'm shocked because I rewatched the first one not that long ago. Well, I rewatched the first one thinking, oh, it's cool. I'll get back into this one and watch VHS 2 again because I wanted to watch the first one. And the first one was literally just all boobs, like all boobs. I was saying stew. Excuse me. It was all boobs and horror.
Maybe that's why I liked it.
Oh, that's a cracking sneeze. Yeah. I've got the first one on VHS as well. Like an actual VHS.
Hey, here he is.
Have you seen It Follows?
Yeah. I like It Follows.
I love it.
It's amazing.
There's one scene in there, genuinely, I love horror films, but there's one scene that literally petrified me. This is probably a spoiler, but it's the bit where the big tall bloke comes into her bedroom.
Yeah.
Literally hairs on the back of my neck. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. That's like haunting, harrowing in the chest, like, because the whole thing's quite supernatural but eerie. Like it's like, okay, there's someone that takes the form of people. That was fully like supernatural, spooky, scary. What is this thing? It doesn't look like a normal person. Oh man, yeah.
Did you ever see not a movie, but it was there's a Netflix series called Archive 81? The guy's repairing the old film reel footage, and he's repairing it and then watching the tapes back. Yeah.
Have you listened to the podcast?
No.
The podcast it's based on is amazing, like proper little audio snippets of all these different interviews. You can kind of see how they've built the TV series out of it, but there's way more to the audio podcast and kind of different places it goes as well. So it's definitely worth a listen if you like the series.
Is that the one in the building?
Yeah.
It's like weird. Yes, I know. I've seen that. Yeah,
he's on his own in the building, and he's been hired to repair the footage, but he has to go out there by himself.
Yeah.
And it's his dad. Spoiler.
How many spoilers are you doing out?
I know, yeah.
Spoilers.
Hashtag Dorb spoils.
Spoils, yeah.
My daughter's throwing some love in the chat there. Where, like I said earlier, I might have even been when we were chatting before. In the weeks that we're sort of making our way through lots of horror films. So my daughter's favorite horror film is Scream. In fact, might be one of my daughter's favorite films at the moment. She really gets a kick out of Scream. I always get a little bit worried when I show her a movie that is really special to me. Normally because they're a little bit older and there's normally something in it that somebody will laugh at. I remember watching Alien with my son and Chestburster, and when it runs across the table, he laughed, and I got really annoyed. Thankfully, the movie that I watched with her recently, I didn't think there was anything in it that you could really laugh at, so I thought it would be fine, but I was maybe a little bit worried as to how she would take it, because it is my favorite film of all time, and that was The Exorcist. So she's just chucking that in the chat there, and I had to bring that in. That is not just my favorite horror film, that is my favorite movie of all time. Like, borderlining obsession, that one. Dorbs loves it, but I've got a replica head of Reagan with horrible with hair.
You have to get it out now. If it's to hand, that has to come out.
It is just down here for.
It's horrible, Ash. It's horrible. It freaks me out.
I can't believe you have the head.
I thought he was going to bring it up from his crutch.
It's been here the whole time.
Yeah, it's it's my little.
Oh my God! That's awful! That's so awful! The expression as well. We're like,
hello. Yeah.
Oh man.
Let's plonk you down there. Can you still get the head? There we go.
Yeah, a little bit of glowing eye.
There we go.
There's something about that eyes in The Exorcist that is the seller, I think. Like in and Evil Dead as well. The eyes are the complete cincher.
Yeah, no, it's great. Oh yeah, she's chucking in the chat there that I campaigned really hard to call my daughter Reagan. It was almost on the cards, and then yeah, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Right, couple of questions. Still, we went on a massive horror tangent there. What have we got? Is there a beloved title in entertainment, movie, TV, game that you wish you could be brainwiped to experience all over again for the first time?
Oh, I think it's a really basic answer, but I would love to do Game of Thrones again. Like, I think I would really like that. Like, I was in it from the beginning, like when it first came out. So I always watched it week by week, and then waited my years for the next season. I'd love to be brainwiped and watch that, like, and just be able to do it all in one go and it not be a thing at all. Have it all on. Yeah, so I think that would be really fun.
I don't know if Game of Thrones would work as well in a binge. I think you do need to be forced to wait a week.
Yeah,
I think you kind of need to spread it out a bit. I think, yeah, it's just that thing, isn't it, where like the last 5 minutes of every episode are really good.
Yeah,
makes you really want to watch the next one.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen it? It's worth a watch, actually. It's worth a watch,
It is
despite
worth a
what a lot
watch.
of people complain about it. It is. You can't spoil it. You've not seen it.
It's just like
it's definitely
and
worth
all that.
watching. Yeah, no, you might like it.
Dragons.
Yeah, although I did see something read which I thought was quite thought provoking. It said Game of Thrones will always be like this cultural phenomenon, not because of how good the show was, but how quickly people stopped talking about it.
Yeah,
so, like Facebook was literally every day I could not look at like any of my social media stuff unless I'd seen that week's Game of Thrones because everyone was talking about it. And then when the show finished, everyone just stopped talking about it all at once, and it was just a really weird phenomenon.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. That last season didn't do any favors. It didn't do any favors.
I think we've said it on a stream before with somebody else that was talking about Game of Thrones. It feels like there's a season missing between 6 and 7 to kind of pull everything that happens in 7 and have that little bit more of emotional attachment. We need to see a particular arc get to where they are in that last season. And the fight that you've kind of been building up to, I'm trying really hard to not say things specific so that I'm not spoiling things for Dorbs.
You can spoil it, mate. I'm not going to watch it.
Before the last actual fight, the fight at the castle was like, it was like, oh, it's taken 7 seasons and it's finished. Oh,
yeah, that's it. I was just about to say, it's like it feels like when you were getting near the end, it's like I was thinking to myself, how are they going to tie up all these loose ends? And it turns out just badly. I was like, there's so many things that need to come together, and they all just came together really quickly. So, is that
what you're saying is I don't need to watch it, basically.
No,
it's
good, mate.
worth watching because it's not about the destination; it's about the journey.
Yeah, and the journey is very good. Like all of the different series in between. They are good. They are good. They're worth watching. Just for a bit of dragon. Even though they are actually withens because they only have hind legs. That's the one thing that is wrong with the whole thing. They should be calling them withens the whole time. House of the Dragon.
I like withens.
House of the Withen.
I like withens, but I don't like dragons. So now maybe I'll watch it.
There you go.
Well,
maybe
there
I'll watch it now. Yeah. I think I'm one of the few people that really did enjoy Lost. I had loads of people just hated on Lost. Like, it was all right. I enjoyed it. Again, it's not about how it ended. I agree it didn't end well, but. No,
I didn't dislike the end.
I liked all of it.
I thought the end of Lost was perfectly acceptable. It was cool. It was different.
I just think it's from the 3 episodes in, and was like, I reckon it's purgatory, and all the rest like, it's not purgatory. It's not. It's definitely not purgatory. And then it goes, well, how many seasons was it? Like 6? And it gets to the end, it's like, well, it's not. It's kind of purgatory, but not really. It's like something you were trying to convince us the whole time it wasn't.
I will still stand that the best ending to any season maybe of any show was the last episode of season 3 of Lost, where it wasn't a flashback and it was only at the end of that episode you realized it was a flash forward and you were like,
yes, that was
what?
That was a good moment.
Yeah, that was the biggest shock moment for me in TV.
Spoiler again.
I thought you were going to say Only Fools and Horses. Millionaires.
Spoilers, yes, Mr. Lowe. Apologies. Hopefully I didn't spoil too much there. Okay, two more questions. So, someone's moved it. There we go. First game that you remember playing. So Mike's first game was Pong on a Grandstand console, 1980. Mike, showing your age.
Oh God, that I remember playing. I know there will be other ones before this, but my earliest memory is playing Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase on PS1. I love Scooby-Doo, and I love Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase. And I remember us going to a friend's party at primary school and them having it and me freaking out because, oh my God, I can play Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase all night. And that's my main one. But there must be something before that. There must be. That's one that's in my head.
Mm.
Well, talking of Scooby-Doo, I'll put this on Instagram. Literally, this bloke, he's got the mystery machine that lives near me.
Yeah! Oh my God, that's so good.
So I managed to get. I always see this all the time, but I'm always driving stuff, so I can't get a photo. But I got the photo the other day. So yeah. I
would love to drive the mystery machine.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
And Mr. Scott coming in right at the end here. Hello, Mr. Scott. How are we doing? Excellent stuff. We have one final question, which coincidentally just actually happens to be from my daughter, who has chucked in there. Can you recommend any horror games?
Oh, can I ever? What do you? Is there like a subgenre or just any?
She's. We'll go with any. We'll go with any. She's got quite a good stomach and quite a good head for horror. We're sort of, we're not quite in the sort of, certainly in terms of movies, we're not quite in like Human Centipede territory yet. We're not going to dive quite into body horror. So I would say possibly for her, she gets a kick out of slasher movies and she gets a kick out of supernatural stuff. So anything that's either a slashery type thing or anything supernatural, she would probably get a real kick out of.
Oh, it's got to be The Quarry for slashers, though. Like, that's not quite slashers, but like from that like genre of teen horror stuff. The Quarry, Until Dawn, all of the Dark Pictures anthology, absolutely big recommend. My favourites from recent memory are more indie games, really. So like. Mm-hmm. Experimental stuff like Mundawn, big love for Mundawn, which is a hand-drawn like it's like a sepia toned horror game where you're in the middle of nowhere trying to figure out what's going on. You're drawn into paintings and he has all these strange like visions, and it's spoken in a really a language that's not spoken in many places. It's very interesting and very good and very weird. And that, along with Lamentum, which is a pixel art horror game, a Lovecraftian pixel art horror game where you're transported to an alternate dimension from Victorian-esque manner into one that's full of monsters and beasts that you have to take down. Really, really good. I love a little pixel horror. Carrion as well, great pixel horror. Inscription isn't a horror game, but the energy of horror that comes from the opening bit where you're in that cabin, oh my God, I love it so much.
Yeah.
And then from more kind of visceral stuff, Madison was great. I loved that from last year.
That is on my list. That is on my list of things I have to get onto. Yes,
Madison, great, and Visage from Madison as well is a really good one. In Signalis as well is one that I recently played. That would be with your Lamentums, your pixel art stuff, your Carrions, all that sort of thing. But yeah, I think Madison and Visage are the most mainstream like indie ones. Yeah.
How did you feel before we wrap up? Just because again, this is another game that seemed to cause a bit of controversy. People either said it's absolutely dreadful, or people seem to really quite dig it. What did you think of Martha is Dead?
I liked it. I really liked it. I thought it was very pensive and reflective. And I think when people play horror games, especially ones that have been super hyped up for having uncensored content because of the whole debacle with changing the little piece, which all it did was take out some interactivity from a scene. It didn't change anything else.
No.
Like just for context, Martha is Dead had to have, just in case anybody doesn't know in the chat or whatever, Martha is... no spoilers. Martha is Dead had a release that was on across all consoles and PC and everything, but on PlayStation needed to be censored because it didn't meet the standards for PlayStation's kind of horror content. And everyone took that to mean that it was gnarly as hell and that it was going to be really like intense. But all it was is that they don't allow interactive scenes of self-harm or of like really really nasty stuff. And the spoiler to announce that it's happening is you cut someone's face off, and it was interactive, and all it is on PlayStation is it's not interactive, and that's that.
No.
But
I kind of actually felt playing it on PlayStation and having that and the other scene happen just as a cutscene actually felt like it kind of worked. I don't know, maybe it's just because that's how I experienced it, but I didn't see how I would benefit more from clicking the button or moving the analog stick to make the thing happen.
Yeah.
It just kind of, because I feel like you could maybe make it happen at your pace at that point. So you kind of like, oh, I don't like doing this. I'll just do it a little bit at a time. Whereas with that other part, it's just like, nope, cutscene, this is happening. You've got no choice. It's happening at the pace it's meant to happen. So actually, Dorse doesn't like cutscenes.
Skip it.
You do kind of have to watch those cutscenes, though, dude. They are, and I thought they were actually quite gnarly. I know people were probably expecting something gratuitous and constant, but those two sequences I did think were really massively uncomfortable. It made me feel very uncomfortable.
I thought the whole thing was kind of I thought it was an exercise in a reflection, like having the film camera as the main part and main mechanic of the game as well, where it's very ritualistic and you've got to load it, you've got to focus it, you've got to take your picture, you've got to take it back, you've got to process it. I kind of thought the laborious nature of it was really worked with building this slow, kind of intense, something you have to really pay attention to kind of game that then ekes out the scary bits and pulls them out, and you have to think about them and see them and take pictures of it, and then maybe things will change slightly. I really liked it. I thought that I can understand why people might not be as drawn to it, especially because horror is so quick and nasty a lot of the time. But as more of a slow burn game that's a bit more experimental, I thought it was really successful.
Yeah. I mean, one of my favorite modern horror movies is one of the slowest burns until it gets to about sort of half an hour. It's Midsummer. I like slow burning. You generally get a good payoff from it. So excellent. Right, eagerly keeping an eye on the time, and also hearing that we have kept you from dinner this evening so far as well.
Yes.
Oh, don't worry, that's how it works. I'm gonna go and have some biscuits.
I'm glad you mentioned The Quarry because I love that game. Such a good game.
The Quarry's so good. I really enjoyed it. Like with the Until Dawn gang as well. Like that it stands up to that, and then you've got all the mini Dark Pictures anthology games you can jump into at the side. The Quarry was a great surprise.
Yeah, I loved it. It was a bit cheesy, and I thought Abby was a bit annoying.
Oh, I like her. I like them all.
I made not a mistake, but she got killed off quite early in one of my playthroughs. Yeah. And then the second time I played it, I had to keep her alive to get all the trophies and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just found her quite annoying. I don't know why. But I loved it. I thought it was a brilliant game. Absolutely fantastic.
Definitely.
Love it. There's two very contrasting opinions there. Mr. Rowdy from 16 Bits of Bombs didn't like Midsummer, and then Hunter Naught loved Midsummer. There we go. The two ends of the polar spectrum there. We'll
take Addy who played Alien Isolation and screamed when he was playing it once as well.
Would highly recommend if you would like a fun playthrough to watch of Alien Isolation. 16 Bits and Bob's YouTube channel. He plays it. I can't remember. Did he play Alien Isolation with his cousin as well?
He did, yeah. And there was a bit of the alien comes out and they're like, yeah, very funny.
Great playthroughs. Ash, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a real pleasure. I know we've been sort of messaged you last year and trying to set it up for this year, but we're really grateful for you just to give us your time to come on to our, like I said, our little slice of the internet and just chat nonsense for an hour and a half. It's been really enjoyable. So thank you so much for coming on.
No, thank you again. Thank you guys. It's been lovely. So thank you for having me on. Been nice.
Excellent. And not that anyone in the chat needs to know, but PlayStation Access on YouTube, head over, give it a sub, and keep up with all the content that Ash and the wonderful team at PlayStation Access put out at all times. Are there any other things you want to plug, any socials you want to plug, where you want people to go and find you or follow or anything like that?
Yeah, you can just find me on Twitter and Instagram at Ash Millman, and that's everywhere I am, really. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, sometimes at my house, but I don't want to plug that because I live here.
Excellent. Well, thank you ever so much again for joining us. Thank you everyone in the chat. It's been a very busy chat session. Thank you everyone for all your questions. I don't think we've got, when's our next, what have we got coming up next? I don't know if there's anything we can plug yet.
Next Wednesday. I won't say who it is. I won't say who it is.
Are we waiting?
Yeah. Well, I'll give you a clue. It's someone
very, very exciting. This one.
Someone who has been in a very, very famous film franchise. We'll tell you offline, Ash. But yeah, very famous film franchise. So.
Yeah.
Someone who has been involved in that. So.
Excellent. Yeah. Right. Well, again, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you again, Ash, for coming on. And we will see you all next week. So good evening, everybody.